Okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of fear in the Pokemon markets, and we're starting to see the market slow down just a little bit. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about why we're seeing some products drop in price, as well as what my plan is for this current market environment. What am I buying? What am I selling? First and foremost, let's talk about the restocks and reprints that are happening currently for some of the top SV sets that we have. So we had this Pokemon drop of the Destined Rivals booster boxes just a couple of days ago. Now we don't know 100% if this is just a restock or a full-on Destined Rivals reprint that we're seeing right now, but I have seen a lot of online stores restock their Destined Rivals booster boxes and booster box cases. So this very well could be a reprint that we're seeing, and maybe it's just being rolled out in waves, right? We don't know, but what we do know is that Destined Rivals is now cheaper than it was last week and the week prior, right? Right now, Destined Rivals booster boxes are going for around $370, which is a pretty big drop from about $500, which is where we were a couple of weeks ago when we had that massive pump. But $370 is basically the same price of Destined Rivals before that massive pump. So you could say that, Destined Rivals booster boxes haven't really dropped too much because they got pumped and then a reprint happened and now they're back down to where they were just like 3 weeks ago. So in my opinion, this is probably one of the best opportunities to buy Destined Rivals if you didn't have any already. And even if you had a lot, right, like me, I am currently buying Destined Rivals if I find the right price. I think this could drop a little bit more, so I'm waiting a little bit patiently. If it drops back down to that 350 range, maybe even 360, I will start picking up more Destined Rivals, and preferably Destined Rivals cases. Cases are currently going for around that $2,400 range, which is roughly about $400 a box. But if cases can get down maybe to that $2,000 to $2,100 range, I will be buying cases, and I'll be buying a lot more Destined Rivals cases. The total quantity on the market is still not extremely high, right? It's been in this 250, 270 range for a while now. And you see that there's quite a bit of listings on the first page in that 360, 370 range, but these are all singular listings, right? 1 quantity, 2 quantity, and these are most likely the people that got in on the Pokemon Center drop, right? They were able to snag one or two, and they're just selling it off for a quick profit. So you can't blame them, right? The game is the game, but these people, once these listings get eaten up, the next big kind of listing is right here. This person has 31 booster boxes, so there is a pretty big ceiling at $400, but I believe Destined Rivals is probably going to range in the 350 to 400 range for quite a little bit. The next restock is the Prismatic ETBs. Now these are the regular ETBs, and Walmart was supposed to restock them last week, but I believe that this drop never happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really have the time to track every single one of these restocks, but from what I heard online, these ETBs never dropped, so they most likely will drop in the near future. Now when these ETBs finally do drop, I do expect that the price of these ETBs is going to decrease. Currently they're still, about $135, which is pretty high. And once this restock happens, I do expect a lot more supply to come into the market, and we could see this drop back down maybe into the 110 range, 120, 110, and that is when you want to jump in and get more Prismatic ETBs, and that's when I will also get more Prismatic ETBs, right? Anything around that 100 to 110 range, I am definitely a buyer. And last but not least, we have the Paldean Fates Premium Collection. Now this, I believe, also dropped on either Walmart or Pokemon Center. Like I said, I don't keep track of these restocks, but I know that this did drop and pre-orders were being sent out for these. And this is basically like the blooming waters for Paldean Fates, because Paldean Fates never got one of these big box sets. And this usually happens at the end of each set's print run. They make these, big collection boxes. So Paldean Fates finally got one, and you can see the booster back prices for Paldean Fates has kind of dropped as well, right? It was sitting in this $16 range for a little bit, and now it's dropped back down to $14. So you do see that these collection boxes are impacting the price of Paldean Fates. But once again, right, this is probably the last best chance to get more Paldean Fates, because Paldean Fates ETBs are probably not going to restock anymore. Paldean Fates booster bundles, right, they don't seem like they're restocking anymore as well. And this collection box is like the blooming waters that happened with 151, right? This is kind of the last chance to get Paldean Fates. So these 3 amazing SV sets are now finally getting restocks / reprints, and I would definitely make the most of these opportunities. If you can snag one for retail price, if you're able to kind of wait in line or wait, online and get these for retail, then of course that is definitely the best play. But if you don't have time for that, or if you just don't want to kind of spend the energy, spend the effort to do that, then I would definitely pick these up on the secondary markets because they will most likely drop some more in value. The next thing that is happening in today's markets is we're seeing some sword and shield sets start cooling down, right? In the summer, this past summer, a lot of these sets pumped up a lot, right? You saw Evolving Skies go to about 2.8k. You saw sets like Brilliant Stars and Chilling Reign both go to about $600 a booster box. Right? You saw something like Lost Origin almost hit $900 a booster box, but now we're gradually seeing these prices start to stabilize, and they're starting to kind of slowly and surely cool down. Brilliant Stars is now on TCG Play for about $490. Chilling Reign is about $510. Evolving Skies is about 2.5k, and Lost Origin is about $770. So we're definitely seeing a little bit of lost momentum for some of these sets, but I believe that this is once again a good opportunity if you didn't have any of these sets already to maybe start accumulating some of these out of print sets, because you know that these will do and continue to perform very well in the future. And right now, any opportunity that you can get these sets for 10-20% less than you did a month ago is a good opportunity in my opinion. Personally, out of all the Sword and Shield sets, I still think Brilliant Stars is extremely undervalued. I only have one of these booster boxes, but I'm definitely willing to pick up more for around that $490-$500 range. Chilling Reign I already picked up a bunch of, so I'm good there. Evolving Skies, I don't have any yet, right? This is probably one of my biggest regrets for Pokemon investing is I never picked up an Evolving Skies booster box. So if I find a good minty one online or maybe in person, I'm definitely willing to pick it up for 2.5k. And then Lost Origin, this I have a bunch of, so I'm not really too worried about picking up more of this. But for a good deal, right, if you can find this for $700, I'm definitely a buyer at that price as well. Now, with all that being said, what am I currently doing right now? What is the best sealed product to pick up in this current dip that we're having? In my opinion, it's these products right here. Destined Rivals, I already talked about, for about that $350 to $370 range, I think is a great price, considering this was over $500 just about 2 weeks ago. So we've already had a pretty big retracement, and we're gonna start seeing people start to buy out these Destined Rivals listings, right? We already saw it today, actually, or rather yesterday. We saw 63 booster boxes sold because this dipped back down, I think, to about that 360 range. So people absolutely jumped on it and they bought out a bunch of booster boxes. Now, we saw this replenish pretty fast. There is still quite a bit of supply on the market for Destined Rivals, which is definitely expected because this set is only, 4 or 5 months old. But don't get it twisted, Destined Rivals is still one of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet, one of the best sets of both Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield, right? I think that this set is definitely a top 3 set of Scarlet and Violet, if not a top 2 set, right? I can definitely see this competing with the likes of 151 in the future, not only because of the nostalgia factor for Team Rocket, but also the top chase cards and the top fan favorite Pokemon found in the set. And the cards are still increasing in price, right? The Mewtwo is over $500, and this was only, I think, $380 just a few months ago. So Mewtwo's already done really well, Garchomp has done really well, Ho-Oh has done really well. All these cards have done really, really well. And this is definitely a set that is going to be highly, highly desirable in the future. I've kind of raved about Destined Rivals for a long time now, basically since I started this channel, and I'll continue to do so because I truly believe that Destined Rivals is a generational set. Brilliant Stars is basically my top Sword and Shield pick right now in today's current market price because this booster box is only $500, and the set I think is really underrated, guys. Now, I don't talk about Brilliant Stars enough on the channel, but I honestly should talk about it more, and I don't even have too much skin in the game for Brilliant Stars, right? I only have one booster box, I have a few of the battle stadiums, right? I don't have too much, but I believe in this set, and I honestly really want to invest more into it. It has a Charizard, it has an Umbreon, it has an Arceus, it has a Mimikyu, right? It has a Sylveon, it has another Mimikyu and another Umbreon and another Sylveon. It's such a deep set, right? It has many, many evolutions. It has the legendary birds. It has a Zekrom. It has a Pikachu, right? This set has everything. And I remember back in the day when this set came out right after Evolving Skies, a lot of people thought that this set, that Brilliant Stars, was a better set than Evolving Skies, right? That was the conversation that was being had. But then Brilliant Stars got some heavy reprints. This was one of the heaviest reprinted sets in Sword and Shield, and that kind of really hindered the price of a lot of these cards. But now, since it's out of print, we're starting to see a lot of these cards make some very large moves, and I would not be surprised if in the future something like this Umbreon is over $100. Mimikyu is probably going to be over $100. A lot of these cards, a lot of these trainer galleries, I think are going to do very well. So for only $500 right now, and a set being already almost 4 years out of print, I think Brilliant Stars is extremely undervalued. So that's my top pick for Sword and Shield. And then of course, I have to talk about Prismatic Evolutions. Definitely ETBs once that Walmart drop happens, and once hopefully we see these ETBs maybe go back down to $120, $110, I'll definitely be a very large buyer of these ETBs. And then booster bundles, this is something that's not talked about enough right now in my opinion. These booster bundles are still basically less than $60, right? Right now they're sitting at about $60 on TCG Player, but you can definitely find them for about $55 to maybe even $50 locally on Facebook Marketplace. So these are basically at the lowest price they've ever been. They had a high of $100 and they've been slowly dropping back down. And these probably will be reprinted again in the future, but you don't want to wait and potentially miss out on a generational set like Prismatic Evolutions. So for less than $10 a pack, I think Prismatic booster bundles are a definite buy. That's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you're picking up right now. Sorry for the inconsistent uploads, guys. I've been traveling a lot for work, so I haven't had the time, but this week I will make sure to upload multiple videos for you guys. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one.